Hey guys, Skylar here. Today we're going to be doing a Vinyasa flow that is going to be working on opening up the heart. This is an all levels class, so I'll be showing modifications. So beginner, intermediate, even advanced. You'll find some elements that will challenge you, maybe. You'll get what you're looking for. You may want to block. It's not necessary, but if you are a beginner, you may find it helpful in some of the poses. So let's go ahead and get started and come to a comfortable seated position. I'm sitting on a blanket, so if you would like to go ahead and grab a blanket, go ahead and do it now. And once you have yourself situated, just bring yourself to a comfortable cross-legged position or lotus. Close the eyes. Root the sit bones into the ground below you or into the blanket. Raise the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Feel like a rope is just pulling the crown of the head, pulling space in between each vertebrae. Tuck the chin slightly. Each vertebrae stacking on top of the one below it. Allowing for that natural curvature in the spine. Bring your awareness to your breath. Notice if you're holding, if the breath is short and choppy. Or are the inhales and the inhales long and relaxed? Excellent way to check in with how we're feeling is to check in with how we're breathing. And the breath is long and relaxed, so is the mind, and so is the body. And if we really want to live from a heart-centered place, the mind must be relaxed. Bring your attention to the center of the chest, to the heart chakra, anahata. Just notice what's lingering there. Does the heart feel light and open? Or does it feel constricted or heavy? Breathe into the heart space, filling up the chest with prana, life force energy. And let it go, exhale. Inhale, feel the chest rising and the belly filling up like a balloon. And exhale, the belly drops, the chest drops. Bring your hands into prayer in front of the heart, the thumbs connecting with the heart center. And and set an intention for your practice today. Maybe it's to let go of some hard feelings you're holding towards someone or yourself even. Maybe it's just generally to open up the heart, to spread love and light into the world around you. Whatever that intention is, feel it in the center of the heart. And gently open your eyes. Bring the hands down to the knees. And we'll start opening up with a little bit of movement here while seated. So we're going to do some cat-cows while seated. So inhale with the hands on the knees. Pull the chest forward and look up. And exhale, push into the hands, round the back. Inhale, pull the chest forward. Exhale, round the back. Couple more. Inhale, chest through the forward. Exhale, rounding the back. Inhale, pull forward. Exhale, round the back, drop the chin. And bring the spine to neutral. Inhale, bring the left hand down onto the mat, raise the right hand up, and on an exhale, gently reach over to the left. Getting a nice side body stretch. Look up to the ceiling if it's okay on the neck. And exhale, drop the right hand by the hip, raise the left hand up, and over to the right. Take a couple of breaths here, feeling the air expanding in the lungs, opening up through the side body. And come back through center. Raise both hands up, look up. Exhale, bring the right hand to the left knee, come to a twist. Left hand is behind that sit bone. And gently turn your gaze over your left shoulder. Suck the navel in towards the spine. And release, coming back to center. Inhale, raise the hands up. Exhale, bring the left hand to the right knee. Bring the right hand behind the sit bones. Inhale and lengthen the spine. Feel that rope pulling the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. And exhale, turn your gaze over your right shoulder. Suck the navel in towards the spine. And come back to center. Grab the hands behind your back, interlace the fingers. Inhale, open up the chest, look up. And exhale, bow forward. Maybe needing to come off that blanket if you're on there. Just gently open opening up through the chest. And inhale, come on up. Take some neck rolls here. Drop the ear to the left shoulder. Keeping the fingers interlaced behind the back. And exhale, roll the chin down. And the ear, right ear to the right shoulder. And just go all the way around, making these gentle neck circles. And other way, rolling to the left, counterclockwise. Okay, and bring the head back to center. If you're sitting on a blanket, go ahead and remove the blanket. And we're going to get right into our sun salutations, our warm-ups. So bring your way onto all fours. Plant your toes into the mat, send the hips up towards the ceiling for your first downward facing dog. Fingers spread, index fingers pointing towards the top of the mat. Root the weight into the index fingers and the thumbs. There's some external, just slight external rotation through the shoulder girdle. Just feel that shift of energy when you push into the inner part of the hands, the thumbs and the index fingers. Keeping the knees bent, push the chest in towards the thigh. The thighs, plural. And then once you have that length in the back and the stretch through the shoulders, then you can start to send the heels down gently, not going too hard on this first one. Not going too hard ever, but definitely being gentle with yourself on the first downward facing dog. And look in between the hands, walk the feet forward, and inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, keeping the knees bent if you have tight hamstrings. Let's try to make this more about getting length through the spine. Letting the head dangle towards the ground. And inhale, come on up with a flat back, bringing your arms to airplane wings to help you keep that neutral spine. Inhale all the way up, reach the hands to the ceiling. Exhale, hands to heart center. Hold here for just a moment, finding your stability. Rooting through all four corners of the feet. Pulling the kneecaps up by engaging the quadriceps, sucking the navel in towards the spine. Roll the shoulders up and back. There's actually an alignment to mountain pose. It's an active pose. And inhale, sweep the hands up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step it back, top of the plank, dropping the knees if you need to modify. And come halfway down to Chaturanga. And inhale, up into Cobra or downward facing dog. The difference being in Cobra, the hips and the legs can be on the mat. The belly can even be on the mat if your back is pretty stiff. You just want to come into a slight raising the chest, looking forward. Upward facing dog is nothing touching the ground but the hands and the tops of the feet. So wherever you're at, do whichever one feels best for you. But look up, pull the chest forward, and exhale, roll over the toes, downward facing dog. Pushing into the thumb and the index fingers. Bend the knees, push the chest towards the thighs, send the heels down towards the mat. And breathe. Look between the hands, walk the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come on up to standing. Hands up, look up, baby back bend if it feels good. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step it back to plank, dropping the knees if you need to modify, and come halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Pull the chest forward, look up if it feels good on the neck. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, pushing through the thumbs and the index fingers, finding some external rotation through the shoulders. Push into the hands. Let the chest drop. Push the heels down towards the mat. Look forward, walk the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Coming to a couple of Surya Namaskar Bs to increase the heat. Sit the hips back, bend the knees nice and deep like you're going to sit down on a chair. And inhale, raise the hands up, look up, keeping the weight in the heels. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step it back to the top of the plank, going through the vinyasa. Halfway down, chaturanga, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And if you're new to vinyasa, notice how I'm saying for each upward movement, inhale, and each downward movement, exhale. Linking movement with breath, creating a moving meditation. Way to connect the breath with the body, the mind with the practice. Look between the hands, step the right foot forward, spin the back foot down, inhale, come on up, raise the hands up, warrior one. Root the outside edge of that back foot into the mat. Kind of rotate the hips towards the front of the mat, making sure the front knee is over the ankle. And exhale, bring the hands down to the front of the mat, coming through the vinyasa, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look between the hands, step the left foot forward, spin the right foot down. Inhale, warrior one. Again, rooting through the outside edge of the right foot. Rotating the hips towards the front of the mat. The left knee should be stacked on the ankle. And trying not to let the knee cave in towards the midline. Push the knee towards the outside edge of the mat. And exhale, come onto the top of a plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold here for a couple of breaths. Step the right foot forward, and I'm going to show you the different ways you can do this. Level 1 is with the knee dropped. So let's just start in level 1. Raise the hands up towards the ceiling. You can release the back foot so the top of the foot is on the mat. If you're going to come up with me, keep the toes planted into the mat, the back toes, and come on up off that knee into crescent lunge. Pull the right hip back, left hip forward, squaring off the hips. Make sure that you're not on a tightrope. And bring your arms down to cactus, pulling the chest forward, elbows back. And bring the front foot, step it back to a plank, and come through your vinyasa, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Let the chest fall down, opening up through the shoulders. Look between the hands, step the left foot forward, and same thing, you can drop the right knee. Let's actually all just start with the right knee dropped. Inhale, raise the hands up. Finding your balance. And if you're coming farther, plant the back toes into the mat. Straighten the knee, come on up. You shouldn't say straighten the knee. Just bring the knee up. Push that heel back, the back heel back. Making sure the front knee is on top of that ankle. Oop. And bring the arms to cactus. Pull the chest forward, shoulders back. And come through the vinyasa. Plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step the right foot forward, spin the back foot down. Come on up into warrior 1. Rooting through the outside edge of that back foot. Turning the hips towards the front of the mat. Bring the hands behind you by the sacrum and releasing the fingers. Inhale, pull the chest up. And exhale, humble warrior. Drop the chest down in between that front leg, on the inside of the front leg. And come on up. Come into warrior, warrior 2. Heel arch alignment. Arms parallel to the ground. Flip the front hand up, drop the back hand, slide it down the leg. Come into reverse warrior. Looking up, reaching back to the back of the mat. And coming into extended side angle, bring the right elbow to the knee. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can drop the right hand to the inside of the front foot and reach the hand up over the head, the left hand up over the head. Taking one long line of energy from the outside edge of the back foot through the fingers. And if you like to take a bind, you can drop the left hand behind the back of the hand meets that bottom hip, and take your bottom hand and reach through under the leg, reaching for the top hand. And turn the gaze up. And go ahead and release the bind if you were there with me. And let's go through the Vinyasa. Step it back to plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step the left foot forward, spin the right foot down, come on up, warrior one. Rooting through the outside edge of the back foot, checking that the knee is over the ankle, and interlace the fingers behind the sacrum, taking the opposite index finger on top this time. Inhale, pull the chest forward. Exhale, drop the chest to the inside of that front leg, humble warrior. Not pulling too hard with the arms, just allowing gravity to pull them forward and down. And release the hands, come into warrior two. Coming to heel to arch alignment, feet are perpendicular. Arms parallel to the ground, gazing over the front fingers. Drop the right hand to the leg and slide it back. Flip the left hand up, reverse the warrior. And exhale, extended side angle, bringing the left elbow to the front knee. Keeping it here, if that's where you want to stay, reach the right hand up and over the head. If you want to go a little deeper, bring the left hand to the inside of the left foot. Make one line of energy from the outside edge of the back foot all the way through the fingertips. If you want to come into the bind, bring the right hand behind you and bring the left arm under the left leg. Reach up for that top hand. Make the bind and look up to the ceiling. Release the bind, bring the hands to frame the front foot, and let's go through the Vinyasa. Step it back to a plank, down to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can come to child's pose here if you like to take a little break. Come back to the breath. between the hands, step the right foot forward. And we're going to come into variation of pyramid pose. So just bend the back foot down to the mat, come on up, adjust your stance. So you might want to step the back foot a little bit closer. We want the hips square with the front of the mat. So the right toes are pointing forward, the left toes are pointing out to the side just a bit. Bring the fingers down by the sacrum and interlace the fingers together and pull the chest up. If you can go a little bit deeper, you can grab the elbows, or you can work towards coming to prayer behind the back. So wherever you're at here, find your hand position. Look up, get length in the spine, hinge from the hips, drop the chest forward. Pulling the right hip back, the left hip forward. Pushing into the toe of the right foot. And chest falling down towards the knee. Your drishti, your focus on the front toe, the right big toe. And inhale, come on up and just turn around, switch sides. Left toes pointing forward, right toes pointing to the side just a bit. Squaring the hips off to the front of the mat. Inhale, raise the chest. Exhale, forward fold, hinging from the hips. Pushing in through that left big toe. Allowing the chest to just fall towards that front leg. Keeping your drishti, your gaze on the left big toe. Keeping the nice long breath. And inhale, come all the way up. Point the toes to the front of the mat. Step the feet out about 3 feet apart or so. The feet parallel. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, pull the chest up, look up. And exhale, forward fold. Hinge from the hips. Let the crown of the head just fall down towards the mat. Arms falling towards the ground. Raising the inner arches of the feet just a bit. Really rooting through the outside edges of the feet. Inhale, come up. And exhale. Finding your breath here. Point your toes out towards the front and back of the mat. And bend into the knees, about 90 degrees if you can. Bring the arms to cactus arms for goddess pose. Pull the chest forward, elbows back. Find your drishti, maybe gazing over the tip of the nose. Inhale, straighten the legs, come on up, and step the feet together. Coming into eagle. So you're going to take your left leg, the right leg, cross it over the left leg, and maybe you need to just keep your balance, and so your left toes are staying on the mat. Or maybe you bend the knees and hook those right toes behind the left calf. Bring the right arm underneath the left. Make a little crisscross and see if you can cross the forearms and bring the hands together. The palm meeting the palm, or maybe the backs of the hands meeting each other. Bring the elbows up to shoulder height. Look up. Feel the shoulder blades separating, creating space through the back of the heart area. And release the arms, release the legs. Switching sides, bringing the left leg over the right, either supporting your balance with the left toes on the mat, or let's just keep them on the mat right now. Bring the left arm under the right, find your arm position here. Maybe the backs of the hands are meeting, maybe you're able to reach around and get the palms to meet. Either way is just fine. And then let's find our place in the legs. You can bend the knees with the left toes on the mat, or you can bring those left toes around and hook them on the right calf. Raise the elbows up, look up. And release the hands and the feet. Come to the front of the mat. Mountain pose, hands to heart center. Inhale, look up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step it back to the top of the plank. Come halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Drop the forearms to the mat. Forearms parallel, fingers are spread, index fingers pointing towards the front of the mat. For dolphin pose. You can walk the feet in just a bit. You can bend the knees, really coming into the shoulders here. And if you're working on inversions, you can take some hops, work on coming into forearm stand. And go ahead and drop the knees. Come on up, standing on the knees. And we're going to come into camel pose. So there's a few different ways we can approach this. The first way is to just bring the hands to the hips, suck the navel in towards the spine, pull the hips forward, opening up the chest, looking up, and just staying right here. The next way is to plant the toes into the mat. Same thing, hands at the hips, pull the hips forward, chest up, looking up, and reaching for the heels. Coming into camel pose this way. Dropping the head back. And the next way is with the tops of the feet on the mat. Push the hips forward, chest up, look up, engaging the core muscles here, and releasing down, finding the heels, and pulling the hips forward. in between the heels. And this is the point where you may decide you need your block. If you have a hard time getting the hips to meet the ground, or if it's just not going to happen, you can sit on your block, root the tailbone into the block below you, raise the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, hands down on the thighs for hero's pose. If you can, make those sit bones reach the mat, go ahead and don't use the block. And come to hero's pose. Finding your breath. Either gaze over the tip of the nose or close the eyes, coming inward. Start to shift your weight forward. If you have the block, go ahead and remove that. Come onto all fours and come all the way onto the belly, onto the mat. Bend the knees and reach for the tops of the feet or the ankles on the outside of the feet or ankles. Bring your thighs parallel so the knees aren't like splaying out to the sides. Try to have some control through the legs here. Keeping the quadriceps on the mat. Pull the feet back, pulling the chest up. Take a breath. On your next inhale, raise the quads up. Keep pulling back. Turn the gaze up. Your bow pose. And exhale, release. Drop the feet down to the mat. Let the cheek rest onto the mat. Taking a moment, coming to the breath. And come on up again. We're going to bend the knees. Grab the insides of the feet this time. Again, trying not to let the knees flop open. And just pull the feet back, opening up the chest, pulling the chest up. And then raise the quads. Deep breathing. And exhale, release. Release the other cheek to the mat. And bring the hands by the chest. Push yourself into all fours, tabletop. Bring the right knee behind the right wrist. Foot comes towards the opposite edge of the mat. And scoot that left foot back. I like to check to see that my front thigh is parallel with the long edge of the mat, as is my back leg. Inhale, push into your hands, come into just a baby back bend. And stay here if this is as far as you like to go or as far as your body will allow. But if you can, bend the back leg, grab the foot, and pull that foot back, opening up through the left side of the chest here. And pull the foot towards the sit bones, getting into the quads just a bit. Something that I find is really often overlooked. And release that leg, coming into sleeping pigeon. You can bring the elbows down to the mat if that feels okay for you. Just find your place here where you're feeling sensation through the hip, but it's not so much that you can't keep your steady breathing. So maybe you walk the hands all the way out, releasing the forehead to the mat. And inhale, walk the hands back, come on up onto all fours. Switching sides, bring the left knee behind the left wrist, bringing the foot to the opposite edge of the mat. Walking the right foot back. Squaring off the hips to the ground. Checking that the front thigh is parallel with the long edge of the mat. And the back leg is parallel with the long edge of the mat. Push into the hands for a baby back bend. And if it feels okay, bend the right knee. Reach for that right foot with the right hand. And pull the foot back, opening up the right side of the chest. Release the foot. Oh, pull the if you want to get into the quads and you're with me, pull the right foot towards the right sit bone. Getting length through the quadriceps. And release, coming into sleeping pigeon, just finding your place here. Maybe this is as far as you can go, or maybe you can come out into your forearms. Maybe you can come all the way down, extending the arms out, bringing the forehead to the mat. Remembering that it really doesn't matter how far you go. The point is to just feel something and breathe. Start to walk your hands back. Come onto all fours. Being really gentle with yourself. That was some pretty deep hip opening. Come onto your bottom. And bring your legs out in front of you. We'll do one bow pose. Get a little bit of core work going on so we can protect that back. So bring the shins parallel to the ground. You can keep the hands on the ground if you like, but pull the chest forward, keeping a nice neutral spine here, careful not to round. So pull the chest forward, grab the backs of the thighs if you like, or you can reach towards the feet. Deep breathing. And release the legs down and roll all the way onto the back. Squeeze the knees into the chest. Rock from side to side. And release the knees. Bring the soles of the feet towards the ground. You can either just drop the knees to the right, bringing the arms out to a T, or you can take the left leg over the right, doing your eagle legs, either hooking the left foot behind the right calf or not, and just letting the knees fall over to the right. Trying to keep both shoulder blades on the mat. Turn the gaze over to the left hand. And inhale, bring the knees back up to center. Shift your hips over to the right just a bit, and either keeping your arms at a T, just letting the knees fall to the left just like that, or bringing the right leg over the left, coming into the eagle legs, and letting the knees fall to the left. Just a little bit of an extra twist and weight to pull that twist a little deeper. You can turn your gaze over to the right hand. Again, keeping both shoulder blades on the mat. And bring your knees into center. And coming into happy baby, so reach the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, knees bent, reach in between the legs, and bring the hands to the outside edges of the feet. Pulling the knees down to the outsides of the chest. Rock from side to side. Release the feet. Bring the legs down to the mat. Feet about mat's distance apart. Let the feet flop open. Pull the shoulder blades in towards one another, opening up the chest, just creating evenness through the body, each contact point. So make any shifts that you need to make in order for you to completely relax. The backs of the hands are resting on the ground beside you, palms facing up. And just allow your body to completely let go and integrate all of the work that you just did. Bringing your attention to your right leg. Completely relaxing the right leg. Imagining it melting into the mat below you. Bringing your attention to your left leg. Completely letting go. Feeling the left leg melting into the mat. Bringing your attention to the right foot and the left foot. Letting them completely relax. Bring your attention your sit bones, your pelvis. Completely letting go, allowing them to melt into the mat. And bringing your attention to your belly. Letting go of any tension. Bringing your attention to your back. The lower back, the mid back. Letting any tension go, completely relaxing. Bringing your attention to your chest and your shoulders. Letting the weight fall away. Bringing your attention to your right arm and the right hand. Feel it melting into the mat. And your left arm and left hand. Feeling the left arm and hand completely relaxing, melting into the mat, letting go of any gripping in the hands. Paying attention to your throat and your neck. Completely relaxing. Letting go of any tension that you're holding on to in the face. Letting the tongue rest in the mouth. Lips part slightly. And even the skin on the skull, letting it completely relax. Complete relaxation. Complete stillness. Start to bring movement back into the fingers and the toes. And roll over onto your right side. And resting the head on the bottom arm. And gently bringing yourself back to a seated position, keeping the eyes closed. And bringing the hands to heart center. Bring to mind somebody that you just love so deeply. Somebody that just makes your heart sing. See their face. Visualize them standing in front of you. And feel that warmth and opening in the heart. As you offer these words to them, may you be happy. May you live a life of ease. May your life be blessed. And bring your attention to yourself. yourself standing in front of you. As you offer these words to yourself, may you be happy. May you live a life of ease. And may your life be blessed. Now visualize someone who's neutral to you. Somebody that you don't have any feelings for or against. Maybe an acquaintance. Hold this warmth in your heart as you offer these words to them. May you be happy. May you live a life of ease. May your life be blessed. Holding this space in the heart, visualize somebody who you have a hard time with. Maybe you're holding a grudge. Maybe they did something that upset you. Keep this person in your mind's eye as you offer these words to them. May you be happy. May you live a life of ease. May your life be blessed. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.